since at that time Fnatic was undefeated on Battlefield. So it was the first time that they suffered a loss at the hand of an opponent's team. And so for Diamond Skin, this is definitely a stronghold that they go to now. Whereas with Zealots banning out Tomb, it's the first time that they ban Tomb. They have a couple of strong maps, in particular when we're looking on to Sky Temple. But when we're looking at Battlefield of Eternity, Zealots don't really have the worst track record here either. They have played 3 games on the map so far, and they won 2 of them. So they currently have a 67% win ratio on Battlefield of Eternity. But Diamond Skin, with that track record, and especially the victory over Fnatic on Battlefield, feels apparently very confident that they can start the series off with a victory here.
So our meta between week 1 and week 3 has been changing dramatically. I was actually going to about to highlight there.
Yeah.
Tracer has become a mainstay here in HGC Europe. We had her a number of times last weekend.
Yeah, and just to put a couple of points to that, and a couple of numbers here. So Tracer has actually risen by 39% in her involvement rate. She's currently sitting at 80% involvement rate on day 3. Overall, numbers are slightly different here, but on the 3rd day she was involved in 80% of the games, whereas before that she was sitting at 41. So a huge jump for Tracer in the meta in Europe right now, and that also of course comes back down to the first ban that we're seeing here on the side of the Zealots, taking Tracer away. And some teams that capitalized in particular on Tracer is Method, and Shrimpy is absolutely enjoying playing the hero here. So Tracer definitely making a huge jump. The same is also true for Tyrael that we talked about a lot. Tyrael has risen by 49% in his involvement rate and has jumped up to an 85% involvement rate last week and on the 3rd play day. So teams after the rework really love to play around him and his shields. And another hero just managing the top 3 here is Blaze. Traditionally, when he came in, Tricked was the team that really played him a lot. By now, every single team has picked him up. We see him as a main tank, we see him as an offlaner. Very versatile hero with a lot of wave clear and a great control over the solo lane.
Burning his way in the team competitions, that's for sure. And that Tyrael, going back to it, I actually played a few times with the new Tyrael build that we're seeing here in Europe, moving into the shields as often as possible, and it's just incredible how much you can keep your team alive and allow for aggressive plays by dropping in those shields. Law and Order talent at level 13, feeding into the Smite is a great build. So if you have a chance to play Tyrael at home for yourself, consider picking up those talents. Wonderful to pick up. Speaking of Blaze, by the way, he's in here with Genji, who's been interesting for us lately.
Exactly. So as we just talked about Blaze, it shows again how important he is, and now we're seeing Uther coming in as well. So the trends continue. The 3 heroes that had the most increase in their involvement rate last week on the 3rd play day compared to before are already picked. Trace has been banned out, Tyrael has been taken, and Blaze has even moved into the 1st pick position for Diamond Skin. Now, Diamond Skin played a fair amount with Blaze already. They played 4 games with him, but they lost 3 of those. So currently they have a pretty mediocre win rate with Blaze. So currently sitting at 25%, but then again you also have to consider that Diamond Skin overall has only a 27% win ratio since they only won 4 games out of the 15 they played. So overall we have Blaze in a pretty solid spot for them, but if you then look at the entirety of Europe, Blaze currently has a 58% win ratio, so a very successful hero in the European meta.
And Zealots are going for a Variant comp, but not picking Variant. They get Uther and Tyrael. Tons of shields here, Divine Shield coming in, Sanctification, make sure to keep your target alive, so helpful there for Hanzo. And will allow for them to transition into a heavy melee if they have to later on to make sure that they can go for those dives, depending on what Diamond Skin picks up. And Diamond Skin, they answer back with the Malthael ban. This is actually pretty common if you pick up Blaze with the amount of health he has. Malthael gets value in itself, but typically because you also want to get a second tank, whether it's a Leo in a side lane or even a main tank on that front line and have Blaze be the off laner. Malthael's good at stopping that, so a good ban here for Diamond Skin.
Yeah. Also with Genji in the mix, we now have once again an opportunity to have a closer look at our little ninja here, since he didn't really appear too often in Europe. He's banned out in most of the games, but he has only been played 11 times, which is actually pretty significant if you consider that we have seen 64 games played in Europe already. And out of those 11 games, he only won 3. Last week, and he actually didn't win a single map. So at this point, we're seeing Genji at a 27% win ratio in Europe. Diamond Skin themselves have played him all so far, not a single time. We've seen them as Zealots twice, but they didn't even get a single victory with him. So Genji, while being banned a lot, is starting to fall in priority a bit. We now see him picked more in Europe just simply because he doesn't have the win ratio that people usually associate with him. His brother is way more successful. Hanzo is being played a lot more and also has a very solid win ratio with 50% in Europe with 48 games played. So nearly 4 times the amount of games that we're seeing for Genji more.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering when we got that second pick there for Genji. I kind of wish we would have gotten the Blaze into an Uther, simply because later on in the draft, if Genji does get banned out, you have options to move into. You have Greymane that you can pick up instead, who fills the same role similar to Genji, not as much jumping around, but still just as deadly. But Diamond Skin really wanting that Genji for something, so let's see if that's going to work out for them. I'm just worried because now Uther is on the other side, and Uther having the strength to shut down a Genji with the help of his teammates is a great attribute here for Zealots. Now, moving into the draft, ETC and Lunara. So Diamond Skin bringing Lunara back.
Yeah, Lunara is actually a hero that they played a lot here. I would, with the way that they're currently going through the draft, I would not be surprised if they go for Lucio as the last pick. They really like to play very similar compositions on this map, and Lunara was always a staple for them when they drafted on Battlefield of Eternity. And both the games that they played here, they won both of them with Lunara, so she was always part of the composition. They also played both times Lucio, so it wouldn't shock me if Lucio is going to be the last pick for Diamond Skin. It's a very solid draft for them, and it's really just down their alley. All of those heroes have been played by them in the past. They have solid win records with them on Battlefield of Eternity. So it's a good draft on a great map for them. Zealots, on the other hand, I mean, that's not a draft to frown upon either, with Hanzo, Uther, and Tyrael already taken. We'll see if they go again into Tacita, since he wasn't banned out, and that was actually a hero that has been played a lot by them. So maybe once again we're going to have a Tacita. And yes, there he is, Tacita and Dehaka for the offlane.
Dehaka Tassadar, so Chris being on the Hanzo here will have to dish out the demo for the team, but also force fights with that Dragon's Arrow. Dehaka will be great for side pushing and trying to put pressure on Diamond Skin, which will allow for Zealots to try and win out in the macro trade-offs. Now Diamond Skin going to be looking for their 5th hero. As you mentioned, support's available. Lucio an option, great on Battlefield Eternity, especially with you grouping so much. Rhaegar, still floating around if you want to move into him, and he's a safe pick too.
Yeah, so we could see a variety here, but they go for Lucio again, as already predicted earlier. It is one of those things that they rely on heavily when it comes to the map. It allows them the quick rotations, and of course, placed properly, they can also try and just prolong that poke battle that they usually run once we have the Immortals on the map. And that's also where Lunara starts to shine, since she can simply start poking the Immortals down. Thornwood Vines has been preferred by them in the past, but of course there could always be the adaptation into a Leaping Strike if need be.
So if Diamond Skin's able to bring some aggression to the table here, they have a composition that I feel like can be quite terrifying for the opposing team. Try and find a pick-off before Dehaka's able to rotate into the fight, and then of course with your 2 tanks, ETC and Blaze, you just control the flow of where he's coming from, and you're in a good spot. I actually really like what Diamond Skin has for this battleground. Yeah,
I think both of the teams have a very cool composition when it comes to what they love to play.
Yeah.
For Diamond Skin, I feel it was very impressive to see how they handled Fnatic, considering that in the early game they were able to set themselves ahead extremely far at the start just by getting a few kills in. If they can copy that into the game that we are now going to watch in a few minutes, then that would be probably a good start for them into the series as well, since they have, I mean, they have a composition that they are really familiar with, a composition that they love to play on this particular map. It's a map that also is right down their playstyle alley, so that works for them too. But when you look at Zealots, they have, again, a draft that they have been very successful with. In fact, this is basically the draft that they used against Fnatic over and over again when they won the entire match against Fnatic. So both of the teams were the comfort draft.
Yeah, it's really become their bread and butter, and something that you see come together towards the late game when they're able to get the Tassadar engages, get the Hanzo fights right away, and of course Tyrael and Uther being here should keep him alive long enough to get a kill or two. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Game number 1, Battlefield of Eternity. Diamond Skin facing off against Zealots.
And with Diamond Skin starting to the left now, first game of the best of 5 series with Wolf Joe on Lucio, Robodoba on ETC, Darkmog on Lunara, Nando on Blaze, and Roskmak on Genji.
On the right side in the red, Chris playing Hanzo, Zarmani on Dehaka, Shad on Uther, Mopsio playing Tyrael, and ADRD playing Tassadar.
Looking in the track record of Zealots, we have so far in 2018 played 17 games. And out of those 17, they won 6, they lost 11. And in those 6 games that they won, 3 times they were successful with Tacita. So when it comes to win ratios for the team, they perform quite well with Tacita. So for the Zealots, this is definitely a draft that they have high hopes for. And with the new Tyrael, this is also another great addition here. You don't only rely on the shields of Tacita with Hanzo, but you have the Tyrael shields, and in addition to that, the rework has definitely helped Tyrael to make his way into the European meta. A high increase in his involvement rate here. So even more safety for Chris. So if it worked already in the old days, before the rework, it should work even better now.
Yeah, feels like that Tyrael is going to be working on that safety as much as possible too. Diving a Lunara as Tyrael is a little bit on the difficult side if you don't get the full on-engage that you would like. Speaking of on-engaging, Zealots have put 4 on the bottom. They've broken through the turrets, but the same thing was done for Diamond Skin as they rotate down to match up. Rosmag actually taking a little bit of poke there, has to back away.
Yeah, up to the top lane, we still have Dehaka soaking the XP. So with the wall broken at the bottom and to the top, you're now seeing the Zealots side a slight lead here. Got a bit more experience through the structures, and actually also engaged onto Blaze and trying to get a kill against him. Talking about engages, an immediate jump on Chris here. Well done by Rosmig, a lot of danger for Hanzo, but immediately we're seeing ADRD throw out the shield, and Mopsio was ready too. Now that already shows that Rosmig is really starting to find a stride in the HGC and is playing more and more aggressive.
Still a lovely engage there. Dimensional shift at the last second here. ADRD will barely be able to survive. Wolfjo also surviving, and I'm already loving seeing this.
Yeah.
We haven't had a kill yet, but you can see Diamond Skin, okay, they understand. Hanzo needs to die, period. If Hanzo dies, we win in the team fight. And they put everything they can in their basket to try and take him out. But Zealots were able to match them with great safety. So it comes down to aggression versus safety, and which one will be able to work out the win here in the victories. So far, it's been good on both sides of the bottom, but throughout the entire match, we're going to be seeing a lot of those fights.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the way that they're playing this as well, because this is Diamond Skin just showing hyper aggression, and with that they have looked really good against the team they've played at so far. Also, just in general, it's not only that we are seeing them here with aggression, but again, we said it before, I really like the draft here too. The interesting part is that they only play Lunara and Lucio on this particular map, and both times they played them, they won the game. So those are two heroes that sit at 100% win ratio for them, which is pretty impressive if you consider that they only won 4 games this entire time in our league. So this is something that should at least give Zealots a bit of a pause. But now that we have level 4 in play, of course Tacita also has the added shield, and it's really all about Hanzo here. He's getting protected by so many heroes at this point in time, so Chris needs to be the focus point. If Diamond Skin can take him down, as you already said earlier, Tim, then I don't think Zealots have a chance. They would have to move back immediately.
It's also looking to be a bit aggressive there. And I know you're trying to get redemption stacks in, but it puts them in a spot where they're going to have a Merc camp pushing on the bottom side, which means they're going to have to deal with that eventually. And once one peels down, Diamond Skin puts some aggression on the other Immortal and try and win out the trade. But so far, Zealots are holding their own. They've done damage to Diamond Skin's Immortal, a nice little inkling of damage. But now they need to get set up here for the defense, and they come down. And Diamond Skin actually brings all 4 down to this area. They want to get turrets.
Yeah, they're trying to break through the wall here, and there is already a defense set up to the top. Dehaka is just soaking the experience, while Blaze is still lingering around. Not really a chance to take a tower down yet, but it's already really low. Darkmook is just poking the entire time. That's all that he has to do here. So if he can get a few more hits in against the tower at the bot lane, they will get even more experience. But of course, right now, it's just both of the teams looking to get safely towards level 7 to maybe get a bit of a lead in talents so that they can force an engage.
7's right around. Rosmeg keeping up the pressure on Chris, but Chris doesn't mind. He knows he has Mopsio nearby. ADRD getting closer to level 7 too, which will make it easier for him to give him those shields when he needs to. With Mopsio harassing slightly, Zealots have gotten a nice edge here. And the best part too is that Dehaka's in the top the entire time. So Diamond Skin, they have to be in a spot where they put pressure on Zealots, where Zealots will continue to control.
And there we go. They go immediately for Chris, and the shield comes out, but this time it might not be enough. Down he goes. First blood for Diamond Skin as they take down Hanzo, and Zarmany came in a bit too late, immediately engaged by Blaze, trying to lock him down. So more damage pushed out by Lunara in particular, as she has an opportunity to follow up on the stun. But well done by Diamond Skin here. And they immediately start to rotate to the top Immortal to start and take down those hit points.
And I like how they cover all bases too. They leave Lucio down here with Nande. Nande can control the space. They have Robodoba sharking around in case Zealots get a little bit too aggressive for their own taste. which allows for Diamond Skin to work on the Immortal. And soon Hanzo comes back, so Diamond Skin will have to pull back down, but good play by them overall in the last couple of few seconds.
Yeah, you have to think about how much on the line for these two teams. Both of them find themselves at the bottom of the standings with a 1-3 record right now. So a victory in this series is insanely important, not only to still potentially have a chance to go on to the Western Clash, but it's also already about potentially going to the Crucible too. So they need to try and get something done here against a direct competitor, and both of them are doing their best here, bringing their A game as Mopsio is once again being attacked. Rosmek darting in, jumping out with his trade on Genji, trying to take Tyrael apart, not quite able to do it, but Tyrael still incredibly low here, and Shed has to do work overtime to get him healed up again.
Yep, Mopsio able to sidestep Rosmek, Swift Strike just barely, prevented a kill from happening. And will now continue the aggression as Zealots step on over, they're defending their Immortal the best they can. Holding as Diamond Skin continues to have a healthier Immortal. They're even dancing around here. This is getting a bit brawly.
Yeah, Mopsio is in a huge amount of trouble right now. He throws out his runes, but there's no way he can jump in on that. He's just way too low. And Rosmek on the left is still working on the Immortal, as does Nande. Genji zoning out ADRD again, and with Zealots now being pushed back, this is an easy objective for Diamond Skin as they claim the first Immortal of the game with 50% shields, 10,000 hit points.
Burned it down, and now Diamond Skin will have a push set up. Blaze goes back to defend against Dahaka. And this is actually a scary push here. Hanzo will be the one that has a majority of the defense, and Tassadar will help out with some shields occasionally. But Uther and Tyrael don't do much to this Immortal, making it difficult for Zealots to defend too well. I expect the wall to fall and a little bit of damage on the fort.
Yeah, and Diamond Skin is doing really well so far. Great Immortal for the start. The first tower already down. They're working on the second, and it's an easy kill. Of course, with an early Immortal, the scaling has not really done too much just yet to make it super powerful. But Rosmek is again getting aggressive. He's really starting to get so much better. He's been highlighted by several other players that say this is one of the players to watch out for. He, of course, is more used to the Hero League environment. This is the first time he shows up in competitive when he plays in HGC. But from Playday 1 to Playday 4 now, you can really already tell that he's becoming much more experienced and that he knows where the line is.
Yeah.
He's way better at judging how deep can I go, where can I engage, how can I put some damage in without putting myself into too much danger. And it has shown in this game already, him pressuring ADRD, pressuring Chris, and just opening up opportunities for his team to get a kill.
Yeah, it's one of the things that he's doing pretty well, as you mentioned, was looking at ADRD, but it's forcing Shad to reposition it and maybe not watch Hanzo as much, conditioning them to stay near that Tassadar, stay near the Hanzo so he can have the stun available for the Genji. And this could come out later on in the series to allow for Diamond Skin to find a spot to kill somebody if Uther's out of position. So cool little moves there from Rosmek, trying his best there to keep ADRD at bay. 10 hits here for Diamond Skin. Mosh Pit, Sound Barrier coming in, Bunker as well. Bunker has become the mainstay lately. Had it last week a few times, and teams are starting to use that armor on the Bunker pretty well.
Yeah, they really do. Bunker has become one of those disengagement tools that we see a lot. Also, Thornwood Vines being used. There's no real reason to go into Leaping Strike here. Could have made an argument of picking it to avoid Dehaka moving in from the back and getting a quick drag on you, but overall the poke against the Immortal is just too powerful. And they can also use it against the forts, because the defense of Zealots was actually really strong against the first Immortal, able to keep the fort alive. The problem is that with Lunara, you still have poke potential where you can slowly whittle down these hit points, and as both of the forts, the top and the bottom of the Zealots, have already taken a lot of damage. Now there's an opportunity for Diamond Skin to take the structures down, get more experience, and maybe get that early level 13 that they would like to have as we see the next Immortal coming on.
I like how you mentioned the forts there. This is where Blaze can be really strong as an offlaner, his ability to clear out lanes. Granted, Dahaka is here for Zealots, but the idea of Blaze being able to clear a lane instantly and have that pushing towards a fort is weighing on your mind constantly while you're in the middle of fighting on BOE. So watch for him to peel off occasionally if they're not able to find an advantage.
Yeah, the poke is going to be really good for Diamond Skin now. With Lunara and Thornwood Vines, she can always throw it out, and we're seeing exactly that happen. Just poking the entire time. Now the Zealots run a double support setup, of course, and they also have Tyrael to boot with the extra shields. But the Immortal, you can't shield him, so in this situation, it is going to win out for Diamond Skin over time. That's why the Zealots are starting to heavier commit now to a potential race, but already Diamond Skin is starting to move in defensively. Rosmek taking quite a bit of damage, but also pressuring Zealots even more and forcing them back.
This is a really bad spot for Zealots. The Mercenary pushing on the bottom, working on the fort. They'll have to come in and defend, but at the same time, they don't want to lose this Immortal too heavily, as the next fort will go down easily with them winning an Immortal, and keep wall will be next for Diamond Skin. So Zealots apply some pressure here. They're trying to find an opening. Robodoba goes in for a power slide, knocks Mopsio back. He's able to back up the safety, but Darkmoth on the side is trying to find somebody to land the poison on.
Darkmoth is actually really playing well with his positioning here. He's not overextending at any point, not opening up opportunities for Zealots, but once again, Mopsio is being caught here, and this time, can he get out? No, he doesn't. Sank goes down, and so does Divine Shield, stacking the two ults. Definitely a bit of miscommunication on the side of the Zealots, using two very important heroic abilities here to try and save Mopsio. And now, of course, the Zealots have to back off. They can't fight at this moment. Diamond Skin moves back towards the Immortal. Should just barely win the halftime show here, as Tassadar keeps continuing to dish out damage with his storms. But that's a huge problem now. Using both of these ults is an issue, even though Genji also used his own Dragon Blade. So at least there's one cooldown that has been used by Diamond Skin.
Which is a difficult thing. Not being able to have that Dragon Blade out clean up fights will make it a little bit harder for Lennar to open things up, but still, Genji is Genji. He should be able to get a Swift Strike in and find a moment if it presents itself. Back to defending for our teams as Blaze pushes the bottom. Dehaka works on the top. Now the bottom lane, a fort was taken away, so that does mean that Diamond Skin, if they win this Immortal, it will go to the top side. Unless Blaze is able to break that down too.
Yeah, Zealots are doing a very nice job now with poking themselves, though, as they are just going in with Tassadar the entire time. But Chris is under pressure, under a lot actually. Barely gets healed here. Darkmoth nearly falling, but Lunara moving out. The sound barrier comes in as the isolation is being used by Zarmany. He dug in deep, but now has to move back. Once again, Rosmek jumping in, dodges the stun. They go for Mopsio once more. Here comes the drag into the stun, and that's the end of ETC.
Immortal comes in, Bunker goes out just to keep the members alive. Nana's in the back line trying to help out, but this is where the solo hyper carry can work out well. If you have shields and heals coming in, Hanzo able to grab a second kill as they pick off Blaze.
Really well done here by Zealots. The double support, keeping everyone alive, and of course getting that one drag into a stun was a perfect play by Zarmany. That was the end of ETC right there. Not only connecting the drag, which allowed Zealots to push a lot of damage onto him, but then dragging him into the stun and confirming the kill. And now it's simply a race. It's a race for the Immortal, and at this point it looks as if it's actually a close one. Both of them could win it here.
Rosmek goes in for the Dragon Blade to get a kill, but it cost him the Immortal. The Immortal actually is going to be going in favor of the Zealots. So there it is. Zealots, however, lose Tyrael. He'll be down for 20 seconds.
Yeah, Rosmek going in and confirming the kill here. Both of them are still on level 13, but just look at this fight here. That was the drag ETC going down, and then the attempt to save it. Immortal taking a ton of damage in the meantime, and Nando, of course, was trying with the bunker to keep ETC alive, maybe to get a counter kill here. He falls as well, so a very dire situation, but then the counter kill against Tyrael, just as the Immortal is taken, and with the low shield that he had at this point in time, it was pretty easy for Diamond Skin to set up this defense up at the top, since they were also running a 5 versus 4 at that time.
They easily defended too, and they knew it. They put 2 in the top, and they sent Lennar to the bottom just to make sure Zealots couldn't offset with a different push and try to break down a fort. And they now hold their front line of defense for now. Diamond Skin and Zealots tied up as we move to level 14. Zealots fighting over the Mercenaries to the bottom with Genji rotating down. Diamond Skin wants to contest. Yeah,
Diamond Skin is going in for this one. Sanctification is ready, but they're not committing to it. And once again, the engage with Blaze. Using the jet propulsion, Dehaka stunned out and he goes down, and he might not be the only one. Mopsio is slowed through Nara's poison, gets a couple of heals and shields, but if a power slide would be ready, that could be the end. Barely a stun against Robodoba, and of course, from the back line, Darkmoth the entire time with Lunara getting the poke win. The Thornwood Mines and the hits are hitting hard. And it really starts to also work against Uther. Now, we talk a lot about how Uther has trouble dealing with Lunara's damage, since there's so much AoE and overtime damage against him, and he's better with the burst heal on a single target. But considering the amount of shields that they're running here, it's actually impressive how much damage Darkmoth gets out here, and also how much space he has. And that's mainly because Rosmek creates it, thanks to his aggressive stance on Genji.
I mean, speaking of the damage, almost 50k here for Lunara. Hanzo on the opposing side for Zealots is at 41k. So both of our damage dealers doing what they can to work in every ounce of damage when needed. 16's right around the corner, and Diamond Skin's about to grab another fort, or at least get close to grabbing it, which would boost them up in that experience to try to tie themselves up against Zealots, who have a smidgen of a lead.
Yeah, and talking about that lead, it's actually impressive to me how Zealots were able to keep up in experience, considering that they already lost a fair amount of structures here. So if at any point, they're even ahead. So if at any point they now get an Immortal and are able to take down forts and maybe even more, they should take a serious experience lead. So that's something that has to be at least considered by Diamond Skin. They need to make sure that they are winning these Immortals now, because this game could snowball against them very fast if the Zealots take an objective.
Looks like they agree with you as Diamond Skin does a little bit of damage to the Immortal. The Zealots pulling them back as the Immortal phase has begun. Mercenary camps will be grabbed for Diamond Skin. They've been doing a bit of a better job making sure to grab these during the Immortal phase, allowing for them to get some pressure on the opposing lane. Luckily for Zealots, as mentioned, they have Dahaka available to stop that, but an opportunity could present itself.
Now, unfair advantage has been taken by Lunara, and that capitalizes in particular on the oil spill that we are seeing from Blaze. So definitely could become a big problem here for the Zealots, considering how weak Hanzo can be. And Chris is forced to go to the front. It's the whole idea of running a double support with a hyper carry, that the hyper carry is allowed to be more aggressive, to go more to the front and try and get that damage out. But with all the shielding, even with all the shielding, it's really tough for Chris to stay alive here, as the hit point pull can be exploited so quickly by Blaze's engage and also the ETC follow-up. If he gets locked into place for too long, then we have to see that Divine Shield coming out. And even though Shad is really coming in his own with his support play, once that cooldown is burned, you are in a pretty awkward spot, because you want to be aggressive, but you don't have the panic button anymore to save the target if need be.
It really comes down to trust, and that's why you build these compositions and you just really hope the backup of your teammates will be there. ADRD and Shad will have to be on point for Chris to survive, but so far they've been doing so. 16-16 for our teams. Immortal continues to be chunked. Zealots have to back up and grab a cap here, which allows Diamond Skin to aggressively move forward, knowing that Haka's in the bottom and they saw Chris disappear.
Yeah, they immediately go in, and they are once more taking the lead, especially, of course, with Lunara's extra damage output right now. They are in a spot where they can easily chunk this down. Mopsio wants to push them. The arrow comes through, hitting basically everyone. Chris, once again, just doing fantastic. His arrows through the last few weeks have been insane. It's absolutely crazy. He waits for the perfect moment, and I don't even know if I've seen him ever hit less than 3 people.
He's been pretty effective with it. Sadly, there was no follow-up there. The team just wasn't quite close enough to get those kills. Robodoba also hit Mosh Pit accidentally, burning the massive cooldown, meaning Diamond Skin won't have that available.
Tacit, on the other hand, with the 60 now and the double storm, is really doing a great job zoning. Genji goes down, so just whittling down these hit points all the time, that really helped them. Mopsio is low, and he might actually fall. That could be the counter kill that they are looking for, but instead it's Lucio that falls. They've been too far out here, trying to greed a bit too much for that counter kill, and now we have the Zealots in a 5 versus 3 situation. And as we said before, the big problem for Diamond Skin could come into play once that the Zealots take the first Immortal for themselves. Because right now, we already have an experience lead for the Zealots, and they haven't even taken down a fort yet.
10 seconds will have Genji back, 20 for Lucio. Chris doing his best to work on the Immortal, but he's only there by himself. 4 members stay back for Zealots to defend the Immortal phase. Tassadar doing his best to poke where he can, and Mopsio holding their front line, but eventually they'll have to give with Genji coming back on the field. There he is. And we'll see who can win this race as they decide to elect to go ahead and go full on for it.
Yeah, they're going to get it here. This is the second one, actually, that they get. They didn't really get any value out of the first Immortal they got because of that kill against Mopsio, but this time they are on the map with 5 heroes and they have the Immortal. So this is very likely going to do them a lot of good in the experience department. And considering that the next big talent is going to be level 20, they will take or they should at least take a major step towards that goal.
All right, let's watch here. Dahaka stays in the bottom, not showing himself yet. Finally does. Blaze is there to match him, but Blaze will have to come in first for Diamond Skin. Blaze has to be here if they intend to fight it at all. Diamond Skin, for the meantime, is using Lunara to do her best to poke against that Immortal. Keep wall certainly going down. The question is how much keep damage will come out.
Yeah, and also how much experience can they get with this? Because as you said, Blaze now is going to try and help out with the defense. If Dahaka takes the bottom fort after they just took the towers, that would be great for them. The only thing they have to make sure of is that they don't fall here. And here comes the engage immediately. It's a 5 versus 4 for now. Dahaka can move in, and he does exactly that. Bunker already used. Here comes Mopsio, though. Sound barrier goes in. The keep nearly down. Might actually fall here. The arrow of Hanzo once again connecting. The keep is still there. Can they get the final blow, though? And indeed they do, as Tassadar comes in with a quick storm. They're looking for a kill. They don't find it, but taking the keep out at the top lane was already a major victory for the Zealots.
They waited out the Archon. Now they're going to go in. Rosmag is chasing. He does have Dragon Blight, but Shad steps up and brings out a stun. Rosmag's low, but he gets healed up by Wolf Joe. The kiting constantly happening here. Robodoba wants to chase. You know it, but they're looking at their assassins. But Darkmok, being low in health, and Rosmag as well, they decide to back up. Zealots get the disengage. They get a keep. Great play for them, only a level away from level 20.
Yeah, they are massively ahead in experience now for the reasons that we mentioned earlier. They kept up in XP thanks to the Haka for the longest time, even though they were falling behind in structures. But now that they've taken both of those, the fort at the top and also the keep, Blaze playing a little bit of music here, saying like, guys, this is not StarCrafty enough. Tacita agrees, of course, but everybody else was a little bit confused.
He's got good taste in music, though. That's all that matters.
Oh, he definitely does.
Well, let's see if Diamond Skin can get anything done here. They know they have to be aggressive, so they move to the Mercenary camp, hoping to fight before 20, hoping that Mopsio and crew will try to contest, will give them the engage they want. They move in, with Zarmany sharking around the top right and a Dragon available. He'll hit his tongue on ETC. There's a bunker for control, and this Merc camp is still hitting on the back.
Yeah, they're trying to force a fight here. The arrow doesn't hit anything this time. The Sanctus out on the other hand. ETC is already down as we are seeing the Divine Shield on Hanzo. This looks to be a bad fight for Diamond Skin. They need a counter kill and need it fast if they want to do anything here, but it looks very unlikely. With the loss of ETC, they had to back off, and now we're seeing Zealots moving in. 220, they have already a wave at the top. Everything is stacked against Diamond Skin right now. 20 is around the corner for Zealots. The Immortals on the map. Diamond Skin is down a hero, and they have to send someone back to deal with a push at the core where they catapult stacked up.
That was really well controlled by Zealots. Making sure to put enough damage on ETC to where if he wanted to do a mosh pit, it would be in desperation. Getting the kill eventually, but also making sure not to allow the Genji on Dragon Blade to put too much pressure on their backline. Tacit are there, as well as Hanzo to keep him at bay. Zealots get level 20, they get a lead on the Immortal, and Diamond Skin are praying for an opportunity as they are 18.5, a full level and a half away from being matched up against their opponents, but they have to defend the Immortal.
Yeah, this is really bad news for Diamond Skin. If they are able somehow to defend the objective now, that would be great. If they lose it, they are not necessarily out yet, but it's going to be a rough defense. The fort at the bot lane basically doesn't have any hit points left, so that would fall immediately. The keep would be a goner too. The question then just remains, can you defend your core? And even if you can, there are still both keeps gone. Genji had to go back to defend, but here comes the aggression against Lunara, and this time there's no hope for Darkmok. He gets blown up within a second, and the Zealots now are just heavily moving forward. Isolation connects, the drag comes in, they go for Nanda, bunker on the ground, but that might not be enough as Mopsio is attempting to charge him down. Jet propulsion saving the life of Blaze, but it's still a 5 versus 4 situation that Diamond Skin finds themselves in.
One of the issues you have when picking a Lucio is you don't have that cleanse. You don't have the ability to stop that stun CC from coming in, and Lunara fell victim because of it. Zealots with a massive Immortal, large shield here, will be pushing on the bottom. Fort, keep wall, keep in the way, and a core. Zealots charge forward, keeping Diamond Skin away from the area, and they get the fort for free.
Yeah, and the Immortal is also at nearly 100% shield. That's the worst case scenario for Diamond Skin, especially since they don't even have level 20 to defend with the Immortal. They still have to hold the top lane that is pushing against the core again. Shields already dropping and dropping fast. Lunara's the one taking care of it, but the Immortal has arrived, and this is horrible for Diamond Skin. And the Zealots are in a fantastic spot to take the first map. Here comes Diamond Skin. They go in aggressively past the Immortal. They need to win it, and they need to win it fast.
Mosh pit comes off. It's going to be a bunker right behind there as well. ETC gets deleted. Genji on the back right, hoping to stay alive. ADRD just shreds his health bar. At the same time, Lucio gone as well. Nande escaping behind keep wall, but it falls too. There's going to be a third kill coming in here as Mopsio continues to chase. A fourth on Darkmok. Only Genji alive. And Zealots push towards the core and earn their first victory in the best of 5 series.
Yeah, Zealots really controlling the second half of the game, moving in and taking down Diamond Skin on one of the strongest maps that we have for Diamond Skin. It's the first loss that Diamond Skin suffered on Battlefield of Eternity. They had a great draft for themselves that it felt very comfortable with, but Zealots was just too strong